Alright guys, welcome to match 2. I have a hand, not a good one, but I'm 3 different colors away from being able to cast something relatively early, and I have a really nice 5-drop that will slow the game down for me. So that's probably the worst draw in my deck right now. Okay, so we'll pass. This blue deck could very likely be elementals, and that's kind of what it looks like here, which is very scary for me because the elementals deck we saw, I think, 2 incandescent soul stokes. We saw multiple. So what's this? Telling time? Oh, land cycling. Okay. Oh, swamp. Okay, so this might be another slow deck. Maybe the deck that's running the domain removal spell. I can never remember its name now. Pop back a forest here. Go for 2. Probably incorrect sequencing, but I don't really care in this spot. But this could be another domain deck. Maybe not even running green, but yeah, so that's 4 colors, all basics too. So that's a little bit scary. Still doesn't have anything to play, which is pretty good for me. So this is an interesting spot. So now I do have blue-black. I am going to be casting Rampant Growth here. Most likely this is kind of hard to decide what I want to bring up here. White or red. I have 3 red spells, including my Electrolyze. I think I'm going to bring up the white though. I'm just more likely to draw into my red, and Arrest deals with pretty much anything that he plays. Electrolyze deals with very little at this point since he hasn't played anything going into turn 5. Next turn I have my Bestial Menace, which I'm happy to see. Okay, interesting. So now I have Vengeful Rebirth. So, alright, I'm very likely to just get mana leaked here. But I don't know that I can really play around it. And if he doesn't have it, it's great for me. If he does have it, he has it. It's just one of those things. He's on 5 color now. This could be something like a Savage Twister. Okay, so now he's on 6 mana. I'm 1 away from Palaka Worm. I'm about to get through for a ton of damage. So yeah, it's looking like I'm just going to go with everything here. Okay, Vapor Snag. Still going to get in for 5 unless he has another one. Okay, Agony Warp. So I'm going to get in for 1. Don't have the mana for this. I'm on 6. Not the greatest, but I do have Agony Warp to blow something up. I have my Repeal, so I can get a little bit of tempo. Cycle into maybe another land draw for Palaka Worm or something like that. Can't be the target of blue spells. It's not the greatest thing that could have happened. One of the very few cards I can't deal with here. Well, this is a little bit unfortunate, but I'm going to arrest it and go for 3. I just don't have another play. This allows me to still Repeal and or Agony Warp. That card just deals with everything that I can do for a little bit here. Unfortunately, a lot of my land draws too are going to be bounce lands. So a couple draws in a row that aren't quite ideal. I do have 5 burn to the face with Vengeful Rebirth when I do get red, and Burst Lightning to deal some as well. Horde of Notions, which I can repeal. Vigilance and Haste. If I do draw just straight red, I can just... Well, this is clearly a repeal. Let's repeal it. If I get mana leak, I'm in a little bit of trouble. Okay. Still not looking too great on lands here, and this isn't surprising, to be honest. With the mana base I'm running, this just is something that can very easily happen. So I'm not super surprised to see this. So there's a 7th mana. So I just hope I don't get mana leaked here. Although then a draw of red mana is just lethal, straight to the dome. Okay, gain 7. This should buy me the time, and that's why we're running Palaka Worm. Even though I can't always reliably cast it, it's just so strong, and in a spot like this, it's so great that just kind of have to run it. If he attacks, I think I'm just going to block, because if he has a trick, he's going to be able to play it on his turn anyways, and it's going to force him to use his mana now. And obviously, if this didn't have Vigilance, I wouldn't block, but... Okay, so we'll just block here. This also cycles for a card. I'm just gonna, am I gonna triple block, because I really want to kill this, is the main reason. And these are blanked by it forever and ever anyways. So... Okay, so maybe he doesn't have a way to kill the Palaka Worm. He doesn't. Does he have a way to kill this? Does he just not have the mana? Trouble Flames. That's the card I was thinking of. That's that removal spell. Okay. So I draw a card. And that's another forest. Not quite what I'm looking for. Again, now a draw of red mana is just lethal. Lots of stuff I can't cast right now. Again, just kind of one of those things that comes with the territory. With this type of deck, I'm going to keep up Agony Warp. I am still just a mountain away from being able to pretty much win. I could have cast Air Servant as well. I mean, I am kind of giving him time to draw into something here, which is unfortunate. Okay, so another island. Does that do anything for me right now? I don't think there's a reason to play it pre-combat. So I think all 3 of my red spells. Maybe I think I have like a random Blood Ogre or something as well. Okay, this puts him pretty much on the top deck. Play Guile. He should get through for sure. Red mana still is just lethal, so I'm not super worried. I have a lot of time to draw into it. Okay. So, again, the mana base for this deck is pretty sketchy. You saw I had a lot of double casting costs. I mean, even just, double, just blue-red or, red-green or whatever. Puts a lot of pressure on what I'm doing, but I don't think that I need to change anything, really, to be honest. I feel fairly confident with what I've got going. He didn't seem to have much that was cheap that I needed to deal with, so I might even go down to 9 creatures and just run additional repeal. And I feel like that's fine. I didn't see really any artifacts. I didn't see any great flyers, so I'm just gonna roll with this and just play the true control deck. Just a lot of ways to. Okay, so this is sort of the spot where dual lands just aren't, or bounce lands just aren't fantastic for me. Okay, I really like to see Blinding Solar here. I have actually a fairly okay start because I'm going to be able to play a bounce land expedition map. Interesting. Okay, we'll play the Aqueduct. And this mulligan actually was going to be inevitable with that other hand anyways, so I'm kind of in the same spot because now I got to play my bounce land just straight away without having to play mana out to turn 3. Okay, has to play an expedition map, probably play a bounce land. I have 2 forests now. I'm looking at, oh, this is 4. This is 7 mana already. So I'm looking to be at my Palaka Worm pretty damn quick, which I love to see. I'm going to be able to play down the Is it Boiler Works in addition to Blinding Soul Eater next turn, and have the ability to tap. It's possible I should play the Golgari Rot Farm. It's actually probably correct just to have the green for the Palaka Worm, so I don't have to tempo myself too much with the bounce lands. So yeah, so let's go for 2. Play the Soul Eater. Play out a Rot Farm. Bounce this guy. Okay, and now I can tap this guy for days and days if I really want to. Okay, basic land cycling. I'm fairly okay with this just because it makes his turns kind of slow. I think he's keeping this open for Agony Warp, so I could just be getting Agony Warped here on my Soul Eater. There are a couple different options for what he can have to slow me down here. I'm not going to block because I don't want to give him the option to do something weird and kill this, because this is going to hold back the Dragon Soul Knight for a very, very long time, which makes me pretty happy. Oh, and isn't this just like the greatest draw? Okay, so I need to actually think about this a little bit because I do want to get a Plains out. I do want to get red mana, but I don't have any of my red spells yet, and I do have Boiler Works. Because what I'm saying is if I do this and I take red, and then I play Plains, I'm on 6 mana and can't cast Palaka Worm the next turn. So I think I'm going to cast this. I'm actually going to fetch for a forest. Fetch for a forest. Play down a Plains. Maybe this is where I get Agony Warped. It's entirely possible. This is looking like Agony Warp for sure. Yep. Wow. Wow, I'm super happy with that. That's fantastic for me. He just killed my 2/3 flyer that basically does nothing. Gonna tap him down for sure. Very happy with how that played out. What's this? 6 mana? Aether Snipe. Okay. Cool. Mostly fine with this still. Obviously, not great to get tempoed like that, but I want to gain enough life. Block Worm, obviously fantastic here. Any 2-mana removal spell, well, I guess technically here, it's not fantastic for me that Oblivion Ring. Ugh. Ew. Absolutely brutal there. So that's going to take me back down to 19, and then I'm going to take, gets +5, then I'm going to take 7, 11, I'm going to go to 8. Oh, Repeal's great. That's so good here. So I can play this for 3 and get rid of this. And play like a Boiler Works. Bring back a Forest. Oh, so cool. So that counts as entering the battlefield again. It's actually interesting. If this game starts to go south pretty quickly, I might actually test that theory and see what would happen there. I have enough repeals to maybe make it happen. I could just repeal the Oblivion Ring here. And then like block the Dragon Soul Knight with the Palaka Worm is entirely possible. So I'm going to force him to pump this, and then I'm going to repeal it. Okay. Not super worried about that. Really? Just going to repeal it now. I don't actually know how this Oblivion Ring interaction works, so I'm not going to mess around with it too much here. So now when this comes out, I want to keep up a red to blow that up for sure. So to play the Air Servant, I can't tap this red, so I need to play another blue. So we'll do something like this. Play out the Air Servant. Actually able to leave up 5 mana to blow up the old, to blow up the Aether Snipe if I really want to. I don't know if his deck is slower than mine or faster. So what is this? Fiery Fall. So I cannot get it up too high. But that's fine. That's another spell out of his hand. And I can kill the Dragon Soul Knight when it comes down. Can continue to tap down the Aether Snipe, buy myself time. I'm very flooded. I should start getting some of mana acceleration type stuff out pretty quick. Can he pump it with anything? I don't think so, but oh, I don't even have the kicker anymore. Didn't think about that. Get rid of the Dragon Soul Knight, which actually is a huge threat now. Maybe he's got Mana Leak? Oh, Telling Time. Maybe looking for mutagenic growth or something. Could have it, I guess. If he does, I guess my Burst Lightning gets blanked. Okay. Didn't find it. If that's what he was even looking for. I have no way of knowing, really. Etched Monstrosity is quite the draw. Let's do 1, 2. It's actually interesting. Let's do 1, 2, 3. I can't actually represent black anymore. Okay. Let's play down Gruul Turf. Okay, got a lot of lands in hand, guys. And I kind of need to hope. It's actually a black mana away from being able to cast that and activate. It's a little bit unfortunate. But if I do get to activate this, it's very, very good. He's cast 2 Fiery Falls. Tribal Flames, I guess, kills it. But that takes his turn at least. 5, 6. Another Fiery Fall. That's actually insane. So what do I want to see? Eventual Rebirth is great. I get that guy back. Okay, so we'll play green. So we're a little bit flooded, but it's just kind of how it goes sometimes. So I'm not super worried about that. I should be able to draw into cards. I've only played 7, 8, I guess. So we'll tap that down. He's 1 mana shy of like Ulamog's Crusher and that type of garbage. Skyreach Manta. Okay. So kind of need something now. Alright, so I get to answer with my own. Green, red. Is that the right way to do this? So what's the most efficient? I need white, red, green, blue, black. I think that's correct. Okay. Court of Motions. Sort of running out of answers for stuff here. Just a little bit flooded here. And I think that's pretty much game. I don't know what I have that draws me out here. I'm just going to take it and see what I draw. I don't think there is an out. Guile still would have pretty much died in the air. Although I guess that was a reasonable out. Probably should have tapped down for 2. But yeah, that's going to be game. Yeah, that was a reasonable out. I probably should have tapped down there. For 2. I would have tapped down a 5, taken 9. I would have taken 3 less. I still would have been dead on board. Okay, so he does have a decent flyer now. Maybe worth running, dropping a repeal, running another plummet, something like that. I'm cool with that strategy for now. Just got a little bit flooded that game. Probably could have played a little bit differently. I'm not sure how that Oblivion Ring interaction works. It's possible that when he attacked with both, well, since he left the mana open, I couldn't just bring the Clockworm back and then attack, and then block. I would have had to block the Aether Snipe at that point, and I wouldn't have been able to ever deal with the Dragon Soul Knight, although I did draw Burst Lightning the next turn. But that's a play that I could have made a little bit differently, I think. Okay, pretty happy with this. Have actually the black mana to cast Dismember without a whole lot of downside. I have no green yet, which is a little bit of a problem, but Dismember answers all of his crazy stuff, which I'm pretty happy about. And I get a nice little threat in the air down pretty early, and a way to deal with anything crazy that he plays afterwards. I really don't want to fly this hard again, though. Okay, and yeah, it looks like he didn't even have a have a land on his second turn, but the problem for me is it doesn't matter, really, because I don't have any plays. I'm so flooded here that I need to draw into something like Guile or something pretty quick. It's possible I should have just played another Aqueduct for that type of a situation. Telling time. He's still not seeing another land, so he's probably setting up lands here, so he doesn't have to discard. Though he will need another play, I think. So he's got another land. So he probably will have, and I think with Telling Time he should be able to set up what he's got going on here as well. So okay, get a Water Servant out there. Pretty nice to see. Nice early threat again. And again, I have Dismember for something weird that comes down, like just something crazy. I don't know how much time he's going to have to cast removal spells. So you really have a 2-mana instant speed. Oh, land cycling. Okay, so this could be something like the Horde of Notions, which I have a great answer for. So I actually won't be super upset if that's the play, because I can get back in for 5 and I can really start putting a clock on him. Even if it's something like Skyreach Manta. Okay, perfect. Plummet obviously is like best case draw here. Another option I could have is to attack with Water Servant, threatening to get damage through, but I think cast for 2 and 2 life. Blow that guy up. Get Soul Eater out. And then do I want to start playing Forests? I don't think so. I just want to get my bounce lands down. Alright, let's get in for 5. I can tap down his next threat. Maybe for 2 life and then pump my Water Servant up quite a bit. Obviously anything but lands would be amazing for a draw here. But I have to plan for what I'm working with, which is these 3 creatures on board, him with 7 cards. It's a little bit daunting. But I have so many great draws. Repeal is amazing when I'm this far ahead. Remand is great when I'm this far ahead. Any of my late game creatures, even if it is something like Palaka Worm, which I can't cast for 2 turns, I can at least start setting up for it. Obviously Guile's insane because I can just drop it this next turn. Okay, that's a little bit of a bummer. I can still get through in the air. So Palaka Worm, card I was talking about. I don't want to trade my Air Servant yet, although there's no reason to not just attack. It's a free roll attack. Okay, and he did block. This is smart. And pretty forced, I think, as well. Okay, so Palaka Worm should do a lot of work here. He's most likely going to play to the board because he's behind, although he might be worried about the Cloud Elemental clocking him. Okay, so Etched Oracle. So Arrest doesn't do a whole lot here. Plus, I'm just going to go with Cloud Elemental for 2. Okay. So I am in pretty good shape. I got another removal spell in my back pocket. A Repeal is an insane top deck. Any removal spell. Vengeful Rebirth if the Blockworm gets dealt with with something outside of O-Ring. I'm in fantastic shape as well. So Arrest. Okay. Repeal actually becomes crazy now because I can repeal this. And I can just go for lethal, I believe. If he doesn't have like a Vapor Snag. So I've got a Plummet now. I can arrest this guy. Oh, whoops. Not if I don't play land. Let's arrest this guy. I have the ability to deal with mana leak. This is technically lethal. Although Agony Warp is kind of crazy. So I'm gonna play around it here because that card does just blow me out pretty terribly. Oh man, this is really tough because if he has it and I pump here, I deal no damage. So let's see what he does. Vapor Snag. That's perfectly fine. Okay, I keep the mana for Plummet, although he's played one Skyreach Manta and I answered it, and unfortunately drew the Plummet later, so it could just be a dead card. Again, repeal is probably just game. I'm going to assume that something like Vengeful Rebirth is just game as well. So I'll keep letting him go for 4 because I should be able to go back in the other direction. But again, Agony Warp's really scary. What is this? 7? Oof, okay. So Aether Snipe does a good job of clocking me a little bit here. Okay. So here is a real question. I can't play it, or can I play it and pop it? If I play red and I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think I can. I think if I go 1, 2, 3, I have white, black, green, white, red. Oh, that's huge. So I have perfect mana for that to be able to draw myself. And I think I'm just going to do it now because I don't want to allow him to interact with it in any way. Okay, and that should be enough of a lead that I can be pretty happy with it. Horde of Notions. Okay. I think Kicked Burst Lightning plus Electrolyze is just lethal. So if I go boom, 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 it's 4 to the face. And another 2. That should just be game. I don't think he can interact with that in any meaningful way. I don't think there's any 2 mana gain life spells, so that's just game. Alright, I'll see you guys in the finals.